This week on London Real, we have the British kickboxer and mixed martial artist, Michael Venom Page.
I'm a snake charmer. I'm just non-stop doing this and you're like, you get stuck in the motion until I find my shot. It is a very stylish sport. Like you try to impress as well as win fights.
Because when you're being flamboyant, you're getting the vibe from the people, which gives you more energy.
I'm creative. I'll see something that Jackie Chan did in a movie and be like, can I do that? Or it feels like I'm in a different time zone sometimes. If someone throwing a punch, you're just so relaxed, you're just like. I lost so many fights, and I was patient enough to continue.
London Real presents Michael Venom Page, Hands Down.
I'm not chasing anybody in particular, I'm on my own journey.
London Real Academy. Build the best you.
When I go in and look at a person or a business, I want to hear him talk about his dreams.
Am I living in alignment to the way I want to be living? And there's a feeling you get if you're not.
A community of action-oriented people that will keep you accountable to your goals. Sign up now for a free 30-day trial. London Real, sponsored by Bulletproof. This week on the show, I have Michael Venom Page, who is a mixed martial arts fighter known for his hands-down karate point fighting background. He has an extraordinary style that's flamboyant, it's artistic, it's exciting, it's really the last thing you think of when you think of MMA in a traditional sense. He just has a style that we really haven't seen before, and he is racking up the wins. He is 8-0 now in his MMA career. He trains at London Shoot Fighters here in London, where I spent some time at over the years, a very serious gym. He fights for Bellator in the United States, and he is just really a fascinating young man. He is a martial artist first and a fighter second, and for me, you know, that holds a lot of weight because I appreciate the way that he carries himself as a man, being a martial artist. And if you are one, then you can spot him a mile away. And I was lucky enough to meet Michael at the Ito Portal movement experience here in London. And as soon as he walked in the door, I felt this vibe from this guy and the way he showed respect to Ito and just the way he carries himself, which is fascinating because in the ring, he is a different guy. He's known for holding his hand up above his head before he fights, as in victory, but I found out later it was also Venom. He has certain stylistic moves. Sometimes he knocks guys out, and before they hit the floor, he's already posing for the photographers. It's an amazing thing to watch. It's exciting, and he's an entertaining young man from London. He's got a fascinating history growing up in one of the rougher neighborhoods, but from an age of 3, his family was always into the point fighting martial arts, and that was kickboxing, and so he had hundreds and hundreds of fights, you know, before he was 10 years old. And it's just amazing to see how he transitioned into MMA and how he's really also building a business. You know, it's not just about waiting for the paycheck from Bellator. He's got a management company, he's managing other athletes, he's got businesses, and it's just a great example of how fighters can take control of their future and their career. So I was really honored and grateful to sit down with Michael. We had a great chat about everything from how he intimidates his opponents to how he reads them, why he fights the way he fights. Sometimes it looks crazy, sometimes it looks slow, and he's going to teach you all about how he does that, including, you know, how he's had his success over the years and how he's not in a rush to have that championship fight. So I know you're going to enjoy this very much. Sit back and relax. If you haven't yet, become a member of the London Real Academy, well, I don't know what you're waiting for. If you're not aware, the Academy is where all the hardcore London Reelers go to make each other accountable and accomplish things like their goals and big projects in life. We meet regularly at the studios here every 2 weeks and places around the world, and we push each other. We demand results and we get them. This has been one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, getting this group of individuals together. We're a network that helps each other, that pushes each other, and we also watch all the premium content that you don't get to see, like our event with Dan Pena live at the Ritz, our event with Phil McKernan at the studio, and all the Success Secrets video series from each one of my guests, including this one for Michael. If you want to see that, all you have to do is sign up as a founding member of the Academy. There's a 30-day risk-free trial if you want to just jump in and take a look, kick the tires. You can always have your money back. So come check us out. There's a social network in there. You can send me a private message, and it's really incredible. So I hope to see you there on the inside. And in the meantime, relax and enjoy this amazing fighter, this really serious young man. And, a few years from now, we'll be watching this and thinking, wow, we knew him then. So enjoy. This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Michael Venom Page, who is a British kickboxer and mixed martial artist known for his unorthodox, hands-down fighting style and stunning knockout showreel. You are explosive, flamboyant, acrobatic, accurate, and very entertaining. You fight for Bellator organization in the US at welterweight division and have racked up an 8-0 record in MMA. People have called you the Anderson Silva of the UK, and Anderson Silva has called you the real deal. Michael, welcome to London Real.
Thank you very much, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure to have you. I've got a soft spot for mixed martial arts, and I trained many years in jiu-jitsu, and I was thinking about the different people I had over the years. We've had Dan Hardy here, Roger Gracie, Colossus Thompson, Rosie Sexton. I was on Joe Rogan's show. We had John Anik from the UFC here. You saw my picture of Stitch, Duran, Pete Irving, which I think you had a fight schedule with him in the past, didn't you?
Yeah.
So he used to co-host with me.
Oh, wow.
So much MMA because I love it so much, and I trained so long. Back in the day. So it's really nice to have you here.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I met you 5 days ago, right?
Yeah.
I like to work fast here. And, my first impression of you when I met you was, this man is a martial artist first, and he's a fighter second. I don't know if you've heard that before, but, from the way you walked in the room and we met at the Ito Portal movement experience, we'll talk about that later, but, the way you treated people like Ito, you seem to be a martial artist first. And in the day of the guys on the corner wearing the tap-out shirts, and, when MMA becomes popular, some people that train like to be fighters and thugs.
Yeah, I think people miss, but like you say, MMA has become so big, people forget, where it all came from. Like the first UFC even, it was individual martial arts. And every single one of them, or the majority of them, were bowing first and, showing respect before they go into, have a battle. So it's funny, but I come from Lau Gar Gong Fu, and seriously, you bow for absolutely everything. You bow to enter the ring, you bow to leave, you bow during. And I found myself in some of the weirdest places just bowing, and it's just something I can't even help. I remember going to cross the road, and I got to the edge of the road and I went like this, and I was like, what am I doing? I just like to fake like I was doing my shoelaces and get back up and then just cross the road. But it's just instilled in me now, just to show that respect, and don't try and force or, force respect. Just give your respect, and you should receive.
And that comes because you started early on.
Yeah, I started at the age of 3.
3.
Yeah, my dad, to be fair, it's my whole family. My dad was my instructor. My mum used to do it as well. My mum's cousin, older cousin, he's like an uncle to me, Stan Brown, was my dad's instructor. My cousins, my on both sides, aunties and uncles on both sides have either done it or been a part of it. So it's just a family thing. So literally the second I could walk, it's like, okay, press ups now, let's do this. It's like, wait.
And you were competing Because at kickboxing, what was the your young career like?
The freestyle kickboxing, it's been around for a long time, like sports karate. It came more from the karate style. Again, it's the point scoring system.
Right. Point scoring as in if you hit a certain part of the body,
yeah,
you get a point.
Yeah. There's specific targets that they give you, which is the difference. Again, there's no, you can sweep and stuff, but there's actually no low kicks.
Okay.
There's no like knees or elbows. It's basically punching and kicking. And again, we do it waist up, bar the sweeps, but the sweeps are foot to foot. So,
okay.
So there are, again, there's a lot of rules to it, but once you actually understand the rules, it's very explosive. There's a lot of calculating going on. You're constantly feeling each other out, distance. It's not just about getting in close and trying to land heavier shots. You spend a lot of time just with movement in front of your opponent before you even interact. And this is what people may not understand. If you are new to the sport and you're just watching it, people can like switch off quite quickly, because you spend 30 seconds, 40 seconds watching and nothing's actually happened. But a lot's going on.
Right, because they're sizing up.
They're sizing each other up.
Movement, the space.
Yeah,
kind of how Anderson Silva used to be in his first minute or two in a fight.
Exactly. They teasing, faking, seeing what kind of response is they're waiting to go. You learn a lot from just small twitches, from foot positionings, from hand positioning, that a lot of people kind of overlook because they just want the action to happen. So, our whole sport is based on focusing on those detailed points of your opponent.
Right, and this is an important distinction to make, because 10 years ago in MMA, people were like, oh, point fighting, that's not fighting. In MMA, we do the fighting. We punch and we kick. And when I learned MMA training, it was like literally Thai boxing plus wrestling plus jiu-jitsu.
Exactly.
That's it.
And
the transitions, well, good luck. And but like all the kicks I learned how were these big Thai. People always downplayed the value of point fighting, right?
100%. And I've seen it in the comments before. Like, that's not fighting, that's some tippy-tappy rubbish, that's this, that's that. I accept it for what people's views from the outside, because initially, the same with jiu-jitsu, when jiu-jitsu first came in, everyone's like, they don't know, I don't understand what's happening, so it's better to just write it off and say that's rubbish than actually to try and figure out what's going on. And I think it's just like the impatience of us as a generation. We don't like to try and spend time actually looking into detail. If it's not blatant immediately, then I'm not interested. And I think it's that kind of view. And I think what I've done is just open people's eyes a bit more, and I'm continuing to do that. It's still not, I think it's not there yet, but I'm opening more and more people's eyes to, okay, let me actually figure out what's this point scoring thing about, because it seems to be working. So, and that's my goal. I really want to blow up the hands down style, and it is. People think it's just me. I'm like, no, you see just me because no one in MMA does it, and I'm the first to come over. If I was to bring you in my arena now, I'm talking kids like this, all bouncing around with their hands down, and it is a very stylish sport. Like you try to impress as well as win fights.
Okay. Now, how many years did you do point fighting?
I've been doing point fighting, first competition again, probably 5 years old, and right the way up until probably 23.
Okay.
So
it's a lot.
It's a lot, and we literally had competitions every weekend. There was always somewhere to go. We drove to Manchester, we was up in Birmingham, we flew to Scotland, every weekend there was something going on. Seriously, so
sounds obsessive.
Yeah, it was just something that I'd always do. Every weekend we get together. My dad would pick everybody up. He got his minivan, pick all the fighters up from either their houses, or we had like a little meeting point, usually in Bridge Park, like in Harlesden, Stonebridge Way, and then pick everyone up and then drive down to wherever we need to drive down to. And it was just something we did every weekend.
Wow. Bridge Park, Stonebridge Way, where is that?
It's in Harlesden in West London.
Okay, W10
postcode.
Actually, right around where Roger Gracie's Jiu-jitsu
used
to be on Kensal Rise.
And it's weird because I've been around it, as in with the Jiu-jitsu side, all my life, but I just never noticed it because I was so indulged in
Strange how that
what I was
works.
doing. Yeah.
So it probably just looked like another martial arts gym.
It's weird. Sometimes I think when it's not registered in, and it's like anything, you know, if you're looking at a new car, all of a sudden you're really fascinated with it, and then you see it everywhere on the road that you didn't notice it before. It's the same kind of thing. Like I just didn't really notice jiu-jitsu full stop. I was just so focused. And when you're young as well, it's whatever you're being kind of told to do, and that's what you pay attention to.
Right, kind of the same way that jiu-jitsu guys would never think about point fighting.
Yeah.
You as a point fighter didn't really register what those guys
Exactly.
were doing in pajamas, rolling around on the floor.
I don't. Weirdly enough, I'd never really seen it. I think I'm like borderline of the era of like where internet blew up. So it wasn't something that we go online to watch. We didn't really go online. So it just wasn't registered at all. It wasn't something I even saw to even, because the only type of people that we saw in gis were karate guys. Right. So anybody that was in a gi to me, even if I saw a child, they were martial. They were on their feet. It wasn't something that I would think, oh, they might grapple. It just never something I'd seen at the time.
Okay. You know, this is London Real, and we like Londoners. And you grew up in London, W10, but it's not Westminster Abbey, is it? It even was known as Little Mexico at one point.
Yeah.
What does that mean, and what was it like growing up?
Well, it's weird because the area I'm in now is probably a lot worse back in the day. I actually first was in NW8, which is not far. It's down the road. More Edgware Road, Lisson Green area, and then it's probably I've been in West London probably about 12 years now. And again, the time I came, it was just being cleared up, but we used to come around there anyway. So I knew the area, I knew the people around there, and yeah, it's not the nicest of areas back then at all.
Okay.
It was like years and years ago, it was actually a police dead zone. Like police wouldn't even go into that area. There's a lot of bridges and stuff, so you can literally disappear. Like once you got in there, you can get from one end of the one street clean over to the other side and not be found in between. So yeah, police would just kind of avoid it until they did a massive drug raid, cleared it all out. They knocked down all the bridges to prevent people from crossing over so comfortably. So it's all the streets now. And yeah, it's completely different now. You're still gonna have the normal. You got kids that still want to try and continue that kind of things because it's their older brothers or their dads that was involved in this and that, and they still want to continue that kind of behavior, but it's nowhere near that kind of level anymore.
Did that lifestyle ever attract you? I mean, as a young man, watching guys with money, guys running their own business, which is kind of what that is.
Yeah.
Did that ever attract you?
Weirdly enough, no. I was more fearful of it's almost like a second family that I created, or that was created within the martial arts. I was more fearful of what they would think of me. So it's almost like having another peer group, but their opinion outweighs your peer group. I used to run around with all the same guys that would go and do this and go and do that, but every time they went to go and do it, I was like, see you later, man, I'm going. I'd make up. And the thing is, it was an easy excuse to make up because everyone, like my close friends at the time, would know that I did kickboxing. So I'm like, I got to go and train, or my dad's calling me, I need to go do this. It was I had an easy out. And kickboxing to them is fascinating. So it's like, yeah, no, cool, like, go and, yeah, do your thing. Yeah, they respected me enough to be like, not trying to drag me in.
Right. Do you think part of them subconsciously knew that if you got involved with that you wouldn't?
To be fair, I couldn't even don't understand what the mindset was. They just always been. I think it's just fascinating for them. It's combat. It's something that they can respect as well in their heads at the time. If I was to say I got to go and do ballet or something or this and that, and if they didn't respect it, they'd be like, nah. I think they would try to put more pressure on me to continue with what they're doing. But I think when they respect something as well, it's like, oh yeah, no fight, they go and do that. That makes sense.
It's strange how we do that as men. Peter Irving, a good friend of mine, used to co-host with me, and he'd be like, Brian, I go to parties and all the guys want to talk to me and think I'm a big deal. He's like, I'm just a fighter. This is what I do. But I guess you get that.
Yeah. It's the same thing. Like people, but I understand if you're into something and someone's doing well at it, and you're a supporter of that person. It's exciting to see them or be around it, you know what I mean? So I do understand. I understand it.
Okay. And the friends you had when you were kids, are you still friends with them now?
I speak to a lot of them. I speak to a lot of them still. And again, I think it's easier now with all the social media. I'm not as in touch with them as I was when I was younger. We don't like spend a lot of time together at all. But in communication-wise, every now and again, you're like, oh, how's this going? How's that going? I do a lot of barbecues at my house. My mum's a very sociable person as well. I've always been, I'm so used to being around like a load of people.
Right.
I'm just comfortable with a lot of people. So I have like big barbecues at my house. Everyone comes down and that keeps people in touch as well. A lot of my old school friends, they were like, oh, you having, yeah, cool. And it's like the no now. If I say I'm having a barbecue, everyone's like, yep, cancel whatever plans we're doing. We're going to go down and check Michael and see everybody else as well.
Okay. So serious community there.
Yeah.
And the martial arts side was a big part of that as well.
Massive part, yeah, yeah.
Talk to me about your style. I mean, you're going around doing, the point fighting. Like you said, it's already kind of has a flamboyance to it, right? And it's all about, I mean, you said one time, I feel extremely comfortable with movement and space. I mean, it really is about knowing where you are and being really aware and making very quick decisions.
And also being patient as well.
Okay.
Because again, I'm so used to spending 30 seconds or, 30, 40 seconds and there is no interaction.
Right, and we see that in your MMA fights sometimes, where you'll be doing things and you're slowing the pace around.
Exactly.
It might look like an antic, but you're actually...
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And probably frustrating the other guy.
That's another
because
thing
in
as
MMA,
well.
there is no pauses, right?
Exactly. That's what I mean. People want to, it's just bulls. They're ready to go.
Yeah.
And again, you can, same as a bull, I'm just doing this. I'm a matador, just like moving it around until the bull's like, you know what, I'm getting a bit restless of this. Yeah. Then I'm finding the right time to strike.
How much do you think MMA fighters bring to the cage because of all the things they watched in the past? And like subconsciously, they're like, oh, this is the way an MMA fight goes, which means I have to constantly, be facing the opponent. I have to constantly engage.
I don't think it's just them. It's just them. It's gonna come from your coaches, your gym. And this is one thing I was actually afraid of when I came over into MMA. I was like, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it my way. So if I came over and it didn't work, then I tried it. I would try something. I'd then go on and try something else. But I had to do it with my style. And I know boxing gyms that I've been to before, if they see you doing, they're really old school, man. Yeah. They love their way. Yeah. Really old school. And if you start doing any kind of antic at all,
you're out.
Yeah, forget that. Get out. Yeah, they're not interested at all. And that was one of my worries coming into MMA and joining it's getting the right gym. And to be fair, I feel like I found the right person because my coach is constantly learning, loves to adapt, loves to find new things to add to people's games.
Right, and I want to get into where you train now. Let me just finish up with the point fighting. Were you the best then? Did you get to be the best at what you did?
Yeah, you know what? I think my only real challenge, to be fair, later in the career, I didn't take it as seriously. I was getting frustrated years before I actually pulled out. When I mean frustrated, I was getting frustrated with the lack of publicity you get for it, the lack of, I can't even say lack of funds, you pay to do it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if I qualified for the World Championships and I paid to go and represent my country, and there's a lot of frustrating features to that sport, and a lot of promoters that promise stuff and then that you never deliver. So my training went down and everything. So I win fights, but sometimes I was struggling to win fights later on just because I hadn't been training that way. It's just pure experience and knowledge that was carrying me through fights. But I think my main opponent, who's doing really well in Glory at the moment, is Raymond Daniels. Okay. He was like the American version of me. So anytime we got in the same arena, everyone was like, oh no, look, Raymond's here. And they'll be going to him, be like, oh, Michael's here. Okay,
so he was your nemesis.
It was weird because like for the first couple of events, we didn't really talk to each other. So because of people talking, we had a bit off with each other. Like, you say hello and then you're gone, which is weird because our sport, you spend so much time traveling around with these people, even from different countries, everyone's socializing and blah, blah, and then we go and fight. But for me and him, it was a bit off for a while. Then
what happened when you fought?
Yeah, no, fought is explosive. Like it was an amazing fight. A lot of like passion that went into the fights.
Who
but
won?
He won the majority of the fights.
Okay.
But I used to love fighting because, again, with a lot of people, they have a style, and once they get to a certain level, they stick to that style. They just try and refine that style. He has a style, yes, but he will doctor it. And I remember having a fight with him, and I was catching him out with certain moves. I'm like, yeah, cool. So the next time I went to fight him, I went to go back to that, and he changed it straight away. And there's people that if I figure out that move, this is where I got complacent and lazy sometimes. I'll go back to that person, and because I get away with doing the same, because I register things. And because I fought you before, I'm like, okay, it's logged. And I get a bit more relaxed when I'm fighting you the second time, but I'll catch you out with exactly the same thing and you don't adapt to it. Okay. But with him, it's a constant chess game, which I used to enjoy and respected as well. Okay. And it's just I think the one time after one of our fights, I'd literally injured both my wrists, both my ankles. I was in the airport trying to struggling, and he was like, oh, do you need help with that? I was like, oh, yes, please. And we sat down and spoke for about an hour before we flew, and we just connected. It was weird how similar we was in different things. And again, it's how much tension other people brought to it. And when I was talking to him about the same thing, he's like, every time I got there, people were like, oh, Michael's here. And it just kind of got annoying. And you know what I mean? He then expressed it to that person. It had nothing to do with that person. But yeah, no, really good friend. So
okay. So part of you inside was probably wondering, what? This is not a means to an end. This is not a career. What am I doing with my life? I'm not getting paid. I'm getting less than paid.
Exactly.
Is part of you seeing Mayweather and seeing MMA and saying these guys are getting paid to fight, or was it not that?
No, it wasn't that, because again, I couldn't even see our sport as that far. So I couldn't even relate it to any of those other sports. So 100% Mayweather gets paid in comparison to everything. I think now that I'm in MMA, I feel the difference with boxing versus MMA. But when I was in our sport, because I was paying to do everything, every time you gave me £1 in MMA, I was happy because I wasn't getting, I had to pay for everything, you know, and to do something that I enjoyed so much and was doing so well at, again, representing your country, going around the world, I had to pay to do. Which again, after years of doing it, you just become accustomed to doing it. But then again, you don't take it as serious.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
2011, you decided, I'm going to go try MMA. I'm sure the point fighting community was like, what the heck are you doing? The MMA community probably was like, you're not a real fighter. Boxing guys are like, what the heck? It's definitely stay out of my gym. What was that transition like? Was it a hard decision to make?
Yeah, it wasn't a hard decision to make. I was actually contemplating not just MMA, I was contemplating boxing. I was contemplating, going the glory route as well, like the Thai boxing. Right. With the Thai boxing, I said to myself, you know what, I don't believe it's going to take me too much to learn this. And I want to, learn something like new, completely new. I think boxing, I got a really good friend. Again, he's like one of the guys that kept me away from, he's like an older brother. Simon Lewis, he was amazing in kickboxing and went into boxing, done really well, but said to me there's a ridiculous amount of politics within boxing, and he's had to go through a lot of drama. And I was like, again, I don't want to go from one political arena to another one. So that's what kind of pushed me away from boxing. Okay. So I thought MMA is growing, it's new, and I'd have to learn, to really become good at it, I'd have to learn a lot of new arts, which I'm actually happy to do. So that's what made me say, okay, MMA. Okay. And in my head, I had no expectation of myself. So there was no pressure, if you know what I mean. I didn't expect to do good. Okay. I just wanted to see how I would do. The points guys, I'm sure there's going to be, probably wouldn't say it, but I know there's guys that be like, he'll probably come back. Okay. MMA is a bit too, we all thought it that way as well, including myself. I was like, again, couldn't see us doing that. The same way they would look down at us with regards to, you're not tough enough. We'd almost believe that. Right, I'd be like, yeah, that's a bit too tough. And I had guys say to me, you'd be good, try and do some MMA stuff. We had a couple of guys cross over and do jiu-jitsu and this and that. Yeah, so you should try it. And I was like, I couldn't do all of that stuff.
I gotta say, I watched some of your point fighting pieces on Facebook. I mean, you guys hit each other pretty hard.
Yeah.
You're taking shots to the face.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't, I was expecting something different.
And because you're diving into each other, you're like, boom, there's big impact. So this is why, it's only until I felt getting hit in MMA when I was like, I've been hit as hard, if not harder, in some of my fights in points. So, like, seriously, what was I worrying about?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the thing that surprised me most when I watched those fights with you, is that there were hard hits, there were kicks to the face. You're wearing headgear, but a headgear doesn't protect a face.
Exactly,
so
it's for cuts and stuff.
I was surprised. I mean, you know, some of the guys you fought were near knockout at some point, and all that was making me wince. And in a weird way, the volume of strikes is higher than in MMA. So I was like, all right, you know, these guys are tough.
And I think the volume of accurate strikes, because again, you can sometimes throw a lot in MMA, but miss, and then or spend a lot of time clinching and just have like small shots here. And they're heavy, but they're not the kind of big shot you can get standing. So yeah, there's a big difference.
Okay, let's talk about flamboyance, and then I want to get into MMA, London shoot fight. Were you the flamboyant guy in the point fighting? Like you said, it's already a style where you're moving around.
100%. 100%. It is a style where people are creative and they are flamboyant, but I would always take it to like another level. I enjoy people watching me with regards to when I'm performing. I like having eyes. And when you're in a competition and there's like 12 mats and thousands of people, what's going to draw anybody to your mat? The only people who come to your mat is people that know you or from your team. So, you know, everyone has their own little crowds. Until eventually, every time I stepped on the mat, everyone was like, let me go and see him. And, you know, it clears out half of the competition. And it's because I'm creative. When I'm in creative, I'll see something that Jackie Chan did in a movie and be like, can I do that? I mean, I'm sure I can make that work. He'll do like a cartwheel, he'll do this, he'll do like that, and I can make that work. And I'll try it. And I'll go back to the gym, I'll try a move and be like, so close. And then my guys would be like, no, I think if you put that leg there first and then do it, you might be able to get away with it. They would never try it, but they're like, you'd probably be able to. And again, I'd literally watch something, try it. And I've hit people jumping over like bicycle kicks. I saw that in 3 Ninja Kids. Like seriously, I'll just watch something, be inspired, and then try and translate that into my fighting.
Okay, you do it so you're curious about the move, but you recognize the fact that ultimately fighting is entertainment, really. And so that's good that you realize that.
Exactly,
and you're open about that.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing it also puts you in a whole different mental space.
100%.
And you're probably logging extra information when you're doing that crazy stuff. Probably a mental game to being flamboyant too.
You know, for me, it relaxes me so much that you have time. It puts me in it feels like I'm in a different time zone sometimes with regards to someone throwing a punch. You're just so relaxed. You're just like,
okay.
It's not everything's not a panic, and I'm not doing this. And again, one of the first things I drill with my if I'm teaching is how to be relaxed with people throwing punches at you. You stand still. I throw punches at you, and straight away you see people like,
yeah.
And that's, even though you can get more senior, that's still involved in you. That's still there. It's just not as obvious as it would a junior. And that's what I completely get rid of. Punches are coming towards me and I'm still completely relaxed. I'm still watching everything that's coming at me and staying in that relaxed state. And the entertainment side keeps me in that relaxed state. So if I feel tense at any moment, if someone's on top of me, I can stay relaxed because I'm in this showmanship type attitude where it just keeps you like, okay, no, just stay relaxed. Keeps you here instead of being like, oh no, something's going wrong. And again, this happens and you start dying, your energy starts going down quicker and you make more mistakes. You know what I mean? And I just keep myself in that relaxed state all the time.
Makes total sense. When you first went in the cage, did part of you doubt yourself and thinking, I got to tone it down a little bit, I got to do this, I got to do that?
You know what, when my first fight, and I always tell people to watch back at my walk-in, yeah? This is the first time, I'd say, probably one of the first time I actually felt that kind of pressure. Because now it's like, okay, I've done the training, and a load of people were curious to see what's gonna happen. A load of my point fighting friends and everyone, a load of people came. So only at that point I was like, damn, I actually need to do well. People are expecting me to do well. My walkout, I literally walked the cage like this. I was dying inside.
It was the
opposite of being me. But weirdly enough, when I got in there, the second the bell rang, I was like, I've been here before. It just felt like home. It felt normal immediately. And then I just started getting into my groove. He's throwing punches, I'm slipping, and that's slowly I'm getting more relaxed. So it's only getting more flamboyant and getting more showman. The crowd's going, it's lifting me even more. And that was it. And then I say, watched from my first fight to my second fight, watch me walk in. As I'm walking in my second fight, I'm dancing because I've already put myself in that state before I've even walked out. But that first fight, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, and I literally like dead straight, no smiling. I was just like walking straight to the cage. I just wanted to be over with. But the second I got in there, I was just like, ah. And that's what made me that fight, that kick at the end. That's what made people like, wait, who's this guy? You know what I mean? So, and here I am now. So.
Do you register the audience when you're in there? I mean, I don't know if it was that kick or another fight where maybe it was that kick where you stopped dead in your tracks and you were looking into the audience.
It's the camera guys that were there.
It's the camera guys. You stopped there. The guy was still stumbling back and before he fell, and you're just stopping there like this, and you're looking. So, are you constantly aware of the audience, the people watching? Is that a third person in the ring in a way?
Again, I think you learn a lot from the type of sport that I was in before, because it's quite a manic sport. You have to be able to filter out a lot and then zone into different things all the time. What I mean is, loads of people are shouting, you've got the crowd shouting, and again, it's big competition, loads of noise. I have to listen to the person behind me, and I have to zone into that person. I also zone into the person on the other side, because when his coach is telling him something, if he's a good student and he responds to it, I need to know what you're looking to do as well. But a lot of people, they're solely focused on this person behind them and they're not listening. So it's being able to use this person, use that person. And again, because I use the crowd, I zone into people on the crowd. You know, I zone into people on the crowd, give them a smile. They're like, yeah, they're getting excited, and it puts it back onto me. I like throw energy, they throw it back like tenfold. It's like they shake something and throw it straight back at me, and I'm like, yeah, I get powered up even more. Okay. And then I'm there. And then again, even at last point, I threw the kick, hit the kick. I knew it connected very well. I knew it connected. I was expecting him to possibly come back. But it's the thing, I think I've told a few people, but although I was zoning onto the camera, I can see him in the corner of my eye. And then in my head, I was like, if he comes back at me, I'm going to spin again the other way and kick again. And I was standing there, and I was zoning on the cameraman. I could see him at the corner of my eye. I saw the referee come in and wave, and I was like, okay, just stay here now. I was like, that's perfect. That's perfect. But again, it's being able to, because I'm so relaxed, you're able to almost jump out and be like, what's going on here? Focus on what's actually happening. I fought against Ricky Rainey and looked at his corner, looked right in his face, and he's just like, I can see how annoyed he's getting. And again, if I can get to you and I'm fighting your guy, you're going to be telling your guy complete rubbish.
Right.
So go again, run forward. Yeah, perfect. Put him heavier onto my shot that's about to come. You know what I mean? It's zoning into this, seeing someone in the crowd again, even in an MMA fight, giving them a smile, and again they're like, they throw it back. I'm like, yeah, it just helps.
Okay.
It's something I really live off.
I don't think I've seen another MMA fighter at a top level do that. Every now and then you'll see someone that'll, in the middle of a Kimura will give a little wink or nod, but you don't see someone that really draws that kind of power from the audience.
And I think it's because of the state that I'm in while I'm fighting.
Okay.
It allows me to just be a bit more observant about what's going on and then soak it up. I'm not just here. I'm here.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And you're concentrating on the guy's corner. And in that instance, you're saying you were looking at the corner while you were fighting?
Yeah,
with the guy
I looked at the corner. Before I looked at him, I was looking at the ref. And then he kind of like, what's going on? And he's throwing shots, and I can still see him because again, I'm in that relaxed state. I'm looking at the ref, I'm seeing what's happening. He threw a kick, I blocked it, and then I moved around. Then I looked at his corner, I smiled at his corner, and it's just frustrating. He just saw what happened. He's like, what's going on? I look at him. He's like, why are you looking at me? And then again, in my head, you know, whatever information you're gonna give him is rubbish. I've done it at my in the gym when I first got there, and again, it's just about listening. My coach is standing on the side, and obviously he's got two of his fights, so he's giving both people information. And I've put pressure on my the guy I was working with, and my coach was like, circle, create some space, like circle around. So I stood there and I waited for him to circle, because I know if you're being a good student, you're gonna do it. He was a good student, and there was a spin kick waiting for him, and I caught him clean. And it's funny because my coach laughed immediately. He was like, "You were listening." I was like, "You should be." But again, a lot of people only listen to the information that's being given to them, the information that's been given to the other side.
Right, and that comes from your point fight.
I think that comes more from the point side,
right.
because you're in that like chess match. Someone's about to give you his potential next move, so it's something good to soak in. And I've seen other fighters do exactly the same. It's not just me. I've seen other fighters like listening on what's happening on the other side to give them a bit more information. And sometimes they either force it or just back off, so they don't have that there for them.
You have another signature move before the fight when they bring you out. You raise your hand.
Yeah.
Is that something you used to do in point fighting, or did you bring that into MMA?
I actually brought that into MMA.
I've never seen anyone else do that ever.
In the MMA world, I don't believe so.
Boxing maybe in the past, or no?
I don't believe so. But
I was getting in my head, like on fight night, after all the training you did, you're obviously matched in Bellator with very capable opponents. To actually still be in that mindset, it's a nice place to be. You get
exactly. It throws people off. It's a statement of confidence before anything's even happened. We're about to enter something where any result can happen, and I'm telling you, I'm confident enough to go for it. And it's things that I've thought about before. It's a signature that I want people to remember. Things that I say, I want people to remember, because I think those are the kind of things that last. And one person I watch, because I've never really been into the too much talking trash beforehand. I've just never been into it. But again, a good friend of mine, Marvin, was always like, you're gonna have to use this kind of stuff some way. So I was like, well, yeah, you're right. And one person I watch, I probably sat there for about an hour plus on YouTube. And I used to watch him when I was younger anyway, is The Rock. And his relationship with his crowd is, I've seen nobody else do that. And
in wrestling you're talking about?
Yeah,
okay,
in the entertainment
WWE.
wrestling, I've seen no one else do that. And obviously it's part of that culture, but I feel he was the best one. So I watched him, and he'd say he's got these one-liners, he's got this, he's got things that he would do, jump up on a rope, put his arm up, things that he would do. So I'm like, okay, that's the kind of stuff I wanna be associated. If I'm gonna do stuff beforehand, it's gonna be stuff that people are gonna remember. I've literally walked. We went out. I was with my friend. The security guy knew who I was. He's like, "Oh, MVP!" Straight away, he did exactly what I do in my fights, and that is something that helped him remember me. And those are the things that I want to do. I'm not interested in like shouting and screaming at my opponent.
Okay.
I want the crowd to respond to me better.
Okay, so no trash talking coming from you anytime.
You're encouraged. You're encouraged to do it, and
you
again,
are these days, right? Because we see the way it sells fights, especially
exactly.
in the last couple of years.
Exactly. You're encouraged to do it, and again, up until a certain point, I'll do I'm an employee. So I'm gonna do what my business is asking.
You're an employee and you also own your own business.
Exactly, but I'm gonna do what's good for business, for both for my employers and for myself. So I understand, the little bit, but I just feel some people try to go too far. You know what I mean? And this is where this is where for me my martial arts prevents me from. And I think it's good if you believe it, then do it. Because if I do it, it's not gonna come across believable, which is I don't believe it will sell well anyway. Because I'll be cringing inside while I'm saying it, because I don't like doing that to or disrespecting someone in that way. I can be cheeky and things like that, make a couple funny comments, which is fine. But then past that, I'm not that interested in doing so. For other people, it works, and I have nothing against it. Conor McGregor right now is the one that's killing it with regards to that.
Yeah, he's the best.
And even myself, I love watching him because
it's congruent. That's the thing. And
exactly.
what you do is congruent, you're saying.
Exactly.
When you put that hand up, you believe it. Yes, it's your signature move.
Yeah.
And talking trash, to a certain extent, wouldn't be congruent with you.
Exactly.
And the public can see through that in a second.
That's
right?
what I mean. If you truly believe it, then it will eventually show. And then again, people will switch off. So I think I had to do what's comfortable for me. And I think those one lines here, signature move here is way better than for me than all the trash talk beforehand.
Do you have a mental process you go through the night of the fight or back in the room? Do you have anything that you kind of self-talk or anything that maybe you picked up over the years?
I can't sleep properly at all, so things like slow music just helps me just stay relaxed.
You can't sleep at all in general? Or
It mainly coming up to the fight. I kick and punch I just wake myself up because I'm so ready to go.
In your sleep?
In my sleep, I'm like, I'm just waking myself up. I'm very twitchy at night because I'm just constantly, like, it's just in my head. It doesn't bother me at all, but I just like to listen to anything that can kind of just relax for a second.
Okay.
I'll relax. But at the same time, I come from a hectic sport. So it's actually weird because I'm used to being in an event and coaching somebody, and then someone calling my name, can you coach me as well? And I run over to the other side of the mat. Then the tannoy comes on, I hear my section, I'm like, I got to be prepared for that. Then someone's, Mike, can you referee this fight? Okay, run on the mat, referee. Michael, you're fighting. Gosh, run, get changed, get warm quickly. Michael, jump, you're on now, run off. And then I have to switch it on there. So I'm used to doing it. I don't mind things being hectic. Okay. Some people need their own time. So I don't mind things being hectic because I switch a switch on when I need to go out, because of just of years of being forced to do it. Because again, the sport that I'm in is just so much going on. So if you've done a jiu-jitsu competition, it's the same kind of thing. There's a lot going on. And you get, because you spend so much time with these people, referees become to know you, they know your ability, so they ask you to help out and things like that. And there's just so much happening. And that's before you pick up your phone, if anything else is going on outside of that arena. So I'm just used to the hecticness, and I don't mind being a busybody before I fight because it's what I'm used to.
Okay, but underlying in your body, there's a lot kind of going on and going through your head.
Yeah.
Your subconscious is probably going through scenarios.
Going nuts, yeah.
But it's not like you're sitting there and obsessed and worried about it. But,
no.
But you notice your nervous system and stuff going on.
Yeah. I think it's just like saying it's just nerves before, the event.
And no mental self-talk routine, like this is what I'm going to do, or?
Literally when I'm in the back room, music. And that's it. I don't try and talk to myself in any way. Again, you have to find a pattern that will work for you, because I haven't been used to doing it that way. I don't want to force it. Yeah. So for me, listening to music just gets me pumped. I think music for me it can relax you. It can, scare you, can pump you up. So what I do is just put that fast-paced music on, rock, rap. I'm seriously, I'm changing tracks like a madman.
Okay.
Just it'd be clips of different tracks. I'm just going nuts, and then I change the track again, and I'm going nuts again, and I'm building myself up. Just before, I might play a little bit of really dancey. I start dancing around in the back. I'm dancing, I'm relaxing, and then I'll go out because I put myself in that. Okay, I'm about to have fun. Let's go and have fun.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And you managed to keep that let's have fun mentality through all your fights in MMA?
Every single one of them.
Okay.
Every single one of them.
Okay.
I'm always enjoying myself.
Okay. Watch the rest of this fascinating interview. Click on the link below and go to londonreelacademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media, log in and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at londonreelacademy.com. So click on the link below. You'll be directed there and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.